The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here he is, Brandon.
All right, welcome to a very special episode of the Brandon Peters Show today, where we will be celebrating 15 years of the film Cigarette Girl. Joining me for the discussion, I have the writer and director of the film, Memphis underground filmmaking legend Mike McCarthy. Hello, Mike.
Hey.
For the listeners, he gave a thumbs up.
Are you Brandon Peters?
I am Brandon Peters of the Brandon Peters Show. There we go.
Could you not come up with a better name for the show than the Brandon Peters Show?
Oh, I have explained myself many times on that, but as long as I'm here, I can talk about whatever I want. That's why I enjoy that. The Brandon Peters Show, and that's why we do that. Also, I have the title character, Cigarette Girl herself, the last starlet, Cori Mattice.
Well, hello there. Also known now as Cori Mattice.
Oh, there we go. Cori Mattice.
Yes.
Credited in this film as... No, there we go.
Oh, yes, yeah.
All right. Well, welcome to the show, both of you. Do you guys want to give a little... For my listeners who may not be familiar with you, do you want to give a little rundown on who you are exactly?
Oh, yeah, Mike, you go for it. You need more time than me.
Just a quick little rundown.
Well, what was I thinking when I started doing all this stuff? I just started drawing comic books and playing in a band or two early on, like in the mid to late 80s through the 80s. And then I stopped drawing comics pretty much in 93 and started making exploitation movies. And maybe the viewers are familiar with some of those. Damsel was Daughter of Elvis, Teenage Tupelo, Shine on Sweet Starlet, Sore Losers, Elvis Meets the Beatles, Super Starlet AD. Did I leave something out? I don't know. I can't remember. But, well, and then, and so went to some festivals, tried to come across as a filmmaker with a comic book sensibility. And the times, I guess, had changed. I guess I was doing stuff that really intensely interested me personally, and without any care or concern, the cat just opened the door, without any care or concern that maybe the marketplace was different or changing, or as it always does, and the society we live in, usually for the worse. But I kept meeting interesting people who wanted to do interesting things and perform in my ideas. And I worked at Sun Records, and I guess I started there in 2003, three. And then I guess, Cori, you came in one day to sell insurance in 2006, August maybe, right around Elvis Death Week. But the idea was that, I'd drawn comics. I always wanted to go back to them. I'd made these films. I kind of hit a dry spell, raising kids, trying to make a living. I was not a trust fund person that could just sort of settle into any sort of camp and get by okay and just do stuff. There was always a sense of urgency to pay bills or just to survive. And I think Cori felt the same way. But when Cori walked into Sun that day, I was just flabbergasted at how she looked and her beauty, and not just that, but the way she handled herself. And she seemed to have a great sense of humor. And she would come into Sun, and that eventually led to, asking her to be in a band called Fingers Like Saturn. And then that led to making a couple of short films called Cadavra, which was a comic book I'd done about a girl made from the pieces of dead movie stars. Am I talking too long here? And
you went through a couple decades pretty fast. That was good.
Right. Well, we can always go back. But then Cori had to leave town. She was leaving town. And so I'm like, well, we're going to do a film, because I wanted to as I'd done with other women in my films who I dubbed or deemed starlets, I wanted to record Cori's presence in my films because I thought she had an incredibly special look and aura, charisma thing about her that needed to be in a film, a feature film particularly. And the only thing that we could really do affordably was the Cigarette Girl movie because it was dystopian, but it wasn't as crazy sci-fi as Cadavra, like something that we had tried to do before. Or well, I guess we did do it. It just was very like a short 6-minute thing, 2 shorts and some photographs and things like that. And then Cori left town, and then we got Cigarette Girl. Wheat filmed it and edited it with me, and then I was able to go to Edinburgh Film Festival, the oldest film festival in the world. And I showed it there. And Cori and I went to Australia, didn't we? I seem to recall that.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
we showed it at the Perth Film Festival, which is the oldest film festival in the world. No, that's Edinburgh. It's the second oldest film festival in the world. And we got to dip our toe in the Indian Ocean, and that was kind of cool. And I'd never been that far east. That was just amazing. And stayed with some friends there. And just in other words, making the films as opposed to making the comic books allowed me to, I think, actually get out there further with the message, even if the message was very sort of cultish and maybe defied a mainstream audience or whatever. If I'd just done comic books, who knows? I'm not sure that would have happened necessarily. There's a guy, Robin Bogey, who does a fanzine called Gutter Hunter, and I'm going to be interviewed in the 4th issue, which I can assure you will probably be the last issue. And as this episode right here, Brandon, anytime I'm involved in something, it's usually the last one.
Oh boy. I just promised my
thank you for
listeners
your
a whole
time.
nother year.
Thank you for your time. There's no need to plan anything beyond tonight. Take the wife and kids out, enjoy yourself. But he was asking me in this Gutter Hunter interview that I just did like a couple of weeks ago. He's like, "Why did you leave comics? And man, your comics are great. And why did you start making these movies?" And I'm like, "You can't take a comic book out to dinner, you know." But anyway, that's about all I got to say.
All right. Well,
You could take a comic book out to dinner, but it would look really weird.
true. Don't spill on it. You might end its life there. So Cori, tell us a little bit about yourself before we dive in.
I don't have that many decades to go back, but
All right.
I can rewind just a little bit.
She's younger.
So, yeah, just a little bit. But I found myself in Memphis. I was in Memphis. I don't come from Memphis, but I ended up in Memphis, bought a house out there, and I now claim Memphis. I feel like Memphis really defined me. I was selling insurance at the time when I met Mike, and Mike changed my life. I mean, he's probably the most interesting, amazing person that I've ever met. And we did so many great things. So yeah, he asked me to do a movie. We made music together. We've just had this years-long friendship. It's been great. Anyways, moved away from Memphis. Always historically was in bands. I was in bands before I met Mike, with Mike after. Haven't done any movies since, though. That was the last movie. But I'm a mortician. I've been a mortician now for 18 years. And yeah, that's what I do. That's my day job. And yeah, not a lot else. I live out in the country. I'm in a post office right now from 1919. So this was the post office when Teddy Roosevelt was president.
Oh, wow.
For my area. Yeah. So I'm just living the country life. I'm loving it. Being a mortuary mama. I got 3 boys. And yeah, that's really about it.
Oh, excellent. All right. I actually just recently followed, there's like a mortician that does like these. I don't have TikTok. I'm old, so I catch them on the reels or whatever, and just started following her. She's put some interesting stuff out there. It's pretty awesome. So, Mike, you and I. So, why we're here today, I was at the Dead Formats VHS Convention.
Mhm.
Just was it like a month and a half ago? close
Yeah.
to, and I'd never. I didn't even know it was happening in my own city, and it was something I'd be into, and I just randomly decided I'm just gonna go by and check this out. And I was wandering around, and this guy hollered at me about my shirt I was wearing. I was wearing a '60s Batman shirt, and we got to talking about that, and then he got to tell me about his films. I was telling him I do podcasts and stuff, and yeah, we hit it off there. He gave me a couple of his films, including Cigarette Girl, to watch and check out. And we're here because I was like, it sounds like something I'd be into, and I was and trusted my gut, and yeah, I was very much into. And it was for a filmmaker to describe their stuff to you when they're trying to sell it to you, and then be on the money on it when you check it out, rare, because they're usually, kind of overselling things. But Mike here had his stuff down when he was telling me about it.
Brandon, I have no memory of any of that, but I'll go along with you.
Yeah.
Whatever you say.
There you go.
I honestly forgot why we were here,
Yeah.
or how it happened. But
This is what happens when you're born in the 30s.
You gotta humor me here. You gotta humor me here on my final episode here, Mike. Jeez.
actually, it did not say anything about that in the email contract. But I'm still back on Teddy Roosevelt's post office. That's
Right.
where I'm stuck. And
Yeah.
I keep getting to see him in the frosted glass doorway.
The ghost of Teddy Roosevelt, like, oh.
Yeah.
Right there.
God, my
Teddy
dreams
Roosevelt.
would come true. If Teddy Roosevelt would haunt me, I could say done. Life complete.
There you go.
My dreams have been realized.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
if Teddy
just his
Roosevelt-
mustache. Just his mustache is the
Yeah.
ghost.
I'll
But,
take
right.
just the mustache.
If you've
That's
got if you've got Jay like planned to dress up as Roosevelt's ghost and appear in the back window, then I'm prepared for that. Like the gimmick, whatever you're gonna do. And then it happens, and then that's what I think happened, and you're like, I don't understand what you're talking about, Mike.
it.
But
You know what's funny? I do. This is where I do a podcast, and this is where I do my podcast, and I intentionally keep the window in the frame
Mhm.
because I fully expect something. I don't know whether it's Bigfoot, whether it's the Wendigo. I don't know. I expect something at one point to pop up in one of those panels.
right.
At least
that's why-
a deer. At least a deer. Just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a homeless person, maybe.
oh, yeah.
Well,
I hope not.
that'd
That'd be really weird.
that would
I'd
have to be
middle
way out of the
nowhere.
way. Yeah. I know.
yeah.
But no, so Brandon, I didn't so you went home with Cigarette Girl and Teenage Tupelo Blu-rays, right?
Mhm. Yep.
But I didn't expect to hear anything back from you because I engage with people and
Yeah.
I do my shtick, my spiel, and then people act like they're interested and they walk away and I never see them again. Kind of like my parents, but that's another story.
It's funny because
kid.
it's true.
I'm kidding. Well, actually read the coffee table book and you'll find out.
When I was a teenager, it was an accepted part of the culture. And now it's 2035 and smoking has become a liability and a privilege. Frankly, I never thought I'd see attitudes against smoking that are so fascistic.
Stay out of my way, I'll run you over.
There's rooms in the smoking section.
Nobody owns me.
You still quit?
3 days now.
Not easy, is it?
Not when they're hanging around your neck.
What do you know about this girl selling cigarettes on the street?
Cigarette girl. What do you need to know about her?
I'm talking to you!
If this girl gets caught selling cigarettes on the street, it could be really bad for our operation.
Put your gun on the counter.
Well, I'm afraid we can't do that because
The cigarette girl? Come on!
I'm turning into some pistol packing mama now.
Sir, you need to go the fuck home! I can't smoke at
I'm about to show you what that shit feels like.
There are no cops in the smoking section.
I'll kill you!
So there's more to this than just selling cigarettes.
I would not go into that part of town in the daylight, let alone at night.
Let me help you with that.
You don't need her there, right? I'm your new cigarette girl, Ray.
You were asking us earlier to explain Cigarette Girl. Maybe you should explain Cigarette Girl, Brandon.
Oh
Maybe
my!
You should tell us.
You guys have forgotten all about it. Jeez. So, so there's this girl. She likes cigarettes, and no, it's a dystopian future. 2035. What 100? Celebrating Elvis since his death, right?
Well, soon, yeah.
Yeah. And so cigarette smoking has been like outlawed except for this area called the smoking section, and cigarettes are outrageously priced there. There's a club that deals the cigarettes in there, and they kind of have this mob has like a sort of a monopoly on the cigarette dealing, and there's a cigarette girl who, vigilante dealing cigarettes, and her grandmother's has emphysema, and she decides she's about to die, and she's like, I'm gonna give up smoking, and because of her cravings and stuff, she replaces that with vigilantism, killing, and stuff like that, and stuff ensues. Is I close?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that's
I picked up on it. I watched it. I watched it a couple times, Mike. It's okay.
Well, and here's what I'll say. Like my previous movies in the 90s had way more gratuitous, nudity and the violence. It's all very cartoony, but with Cigarette Girl, Cori had her own aesthetic, what she wanted to do, what she didn't want to do, and it was years after what I'd done before as well. So what I was trying to do was to squeeze as much exploitation out of Cori as I possibly could to reflect on the past but yet, do it within the guidelines of maybe making something a little more commercial. And I know you've seen Teenage Tupelo now, and I don't know if you've seen the other stuff, but so maybe you'll agree with me. So that's what I was trying to do.
It's pinup tasteful. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
In Cigarette Girl.
But with Cori, being who she is, I think it's in a whole other category, but it is very low budget and all that. But I think it exists in some special category where I thought it was very interesting that you said, you had Teenage Tupelo and you had Cigarette Girl, but you contacted me about Cigarette Girl, which I thought was kind of refreshing because, some people would have probably said, oh, let's talk about the nudity movies and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I just off the cuff, Cori, you know what I'm talking about? It's an easier target to talk about that stuff. Whereas Cigarette Girls maybe a little bit more complex and newer and still combines the same friendship network and so forth, But,
back when Cigarette Girl came out, I was not doing critic stuff at that time yet. However, had I been, it probably would have been in consideration, and if I would have seen it that year as well, if I'd had access or whatever, it probably would have been in consideration for one of my favorite films of the year because it hit a sweet spot for me in filmmaking, which is what appealed to me about it. Is this has I love the high concept, low budget sci-fi. And Mike, you honestly do a thing that I like to credit Lee Wanell and James Wan with, is you make $1 look like 1 million. And it's pretty exceptional what's going on with Cigarette Girl that I like to, and it really, you're not trying to go overboard, but the world feels big. It feels real. It does feel futuristic and stuff, but and I think all of that is what you've said on people, picking out the right spots of Memphis that can look like that and showcase and just easily. I'm sure if you live there, it's a different experience of watching a movie, but that's the same with anywhere. If a movie's shot and you live there, it looks different to you. You know that when you turn down one street, it doesn't end up on the other side of town. But no, it's really terrific, and Cori commands the screen quite well. I wanted to ask you, Cori, like, who did you do your own makeup, or did you have a makeup artist? Because your makeup's like terrific in the movie.
Thank you.
Like, that's a weird thing for me to notice, but I'm like, her makeup's like phenomenal.
Thank you. Well, it was 50-50. So Robin Tucker did my makeup and she's traditionally a hairstylist. So it was, not really in her wheelhouse to do makeup.
Okay.
She did it for the first section of the movie. So the funny thing is we shot this movie and Mike, you have to tell me how many days. I mean, it was a very small amount of days, but those days were divided into 2 different seasons. So we shot in the summer, and then the other handful of days we shot in the winter.
Okay.
So it was strange because it was either sweating our asses off or freezing our asses off. And when I say cold, I mean, we were in a warehouse where like we could barely like not shiver and make it completely obvious when we were doing the scenes. I mean, and then we were just sweating nonstop in the summer because it's Memphis, of course. So yeah, it was 50-50. Robin did it half the time. I did it sometimes. So yeah, thank you. I don't know.
It was a weird thing to stand up that I normally don't like if it's not like a monster or, gore effects makeup thing, but I was like, her makeup looks great in this. Like, I don't, and that's not something I pick up on movies very much. It's not an aspect I'm really looking at. They're usually just, it's fine. But this one I was like, I think for the, the low budget, everything else, I'm like, that looks, I mean, it was really helping like pop off the screen and stuff with how you were in every scene. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
John, on a podcast.
Huh?
Yeah. I'm on a podcast.
All right.
Okay. Hey,
Say
John.
hello, John.
Hey, in the background. All right, I'm keeping that in.
Yeah, of course. Well, I hope you're keeping all this in. It's very exciting. You might actually have another episode if you keep this one going like this.
There we go.
The movie initially cost $27,000.
Okay.
And Wheat, who filmed it, also handled a lot of the effects and sort of the power of the film. And yeah, this Memphis is or was sort of blighted, especially in the certain parts of town that I knew very well. And the motto of Guerrilla Monster Films has always been, don't ask permission, shoot until they make you stop, deny everything. And so more often than not, the cops do show up and they just watch us. And especially if we're doing something late at night or whatever. And that goes for my other films as well. But you're also looking, movie magic. You're looking at the exterior of one building, and then we're actually filming in the interior of another building. And Ivy McLemore, who played the runaway, she has the death scene. I think, Cori, that's where you're talking about it being so cold in this ancient, decrepit old brewery building, which now is an apartment building for yuppies, downtown and all that. So, and the Sears building, which is on the poster that I guess that image isn't on the cover. Brian Dixon designed the cover, the black cover that you have on the DVD cover. But another main image was Cori posed against Robin Tucker's 1970 black Cadillac with the old Sears building behind her, which was built in 1927. So now it's been totally refurbished. About $15 million have gone into it. It's called Crosstown Concourse. So basically we would show up at these places that I figured there would be no saving them except on film.
Right.
Or tape. And I've always been a bit of a historic preservationist. Just like I want to preserve Cori because she looks like $1 million. The reason a dollar looks like $1 million is because people like Cori show up and they just do their thing. And you're so busy looking at Cori, you're like, what was the plot to this thing again? What did this cost to make?
It doesn't matter. Such good friends.
Yeah. Can I rewind? Let's just rewind there for a minute, So I mean, that's my theory. My theory is pretty blasé. I've become a better writer. I honestly have become a much better writer And I wish I'd been a better writer on Cigarette Girl. But a lot of the times you're just caught up in so many things, and you know what you're capable of doing with the money, and that always is stifling you just a little bit. And then things go wrong anyway.
Well,
So
to your credit, you're writing on Cigarette Girl. Your comic book sensibilities come out more than I've seen in some of your other work. Like it's a nice harness, and feels like you're really pulling from that to your story. Like through the actions, the setting, and the dialogue. I feel like it really goes full quadrant on that.
Well, the danger is, you think you know Dashiell Hammett, even though you've only read maybe 3 stories, and he wrote probably 100. So you think you know these hard-boiled detective novel, Raymond Chandler, Dashiell Hammett. So I just set out to think that I knew that, and I'd already had sort of hard-boiled dialogue in Super Starlet AD, and so it was kind of easy to plug that into the movie. And then Cori's voice, I think, is very unique because it's hard to determine where Cori comes from. Like, I'm from the South. But with Cori, born in San Diego, lived in Kansas, wound up in Virginia. She just has a good voice, and it's really great on her Metal Foundry podcast too.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. And Cori, what kind of was this an easy role to just slide into, or did you have to transform any sort of preparation you remember from that?
Well, yeah. So I had never done any type of film work before. I mean, I'd done music videos, perhaps very, low budget stuff, but I had never actually been on film before. And when Mike asked me to be in this movie, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do a part. I didn't know that he was really intending me for the lead role. And I was horrified because I don't like being the center of attention. I know that probably sounds weird for somebody that, has had a burlesque troupe and in bands and stuff. But honestly, that was really hard for me. Oh, and I don't think the irony isn't lost on me, Mike, that I wouldn't be naked in your movie, but then I was naked on stage for, the 5 years after doing burlesque. I'm sorry about that.
Well, you weren't completely naked.
It depends on what state I was in.
It wasn't captured on film and passed around, though.
Yeah.
It was a one night only.
But anyways, no, it was not easy to act because it's not something that I naturally do. It's not something that I had done before. But I just kind of played myself, really. So I didn't feel like I had to step into character for anything. Honestly, the hardest thing is when, he would say, vamp it up or, stuff like that. And I just didn't know how to
do the thing. What's the thing? What's the thing?
Yeah. I honestly, at that time I was young. I didn't know how to do more sexy, like that wasn't, I just didn't know how to do.
Yeah, I don't think that, I mean, you were just sort of, you're very affable and friendly, and you've always been, of course, in job descriptions that make you want to, like retail or selling insurance or whatever these jobs are that we all have to do. We have to sort of relate to people. And I think you come across as very friendly, and like you've been smiling mostly since this whole thing started.
Because my teeth are big.
But what really has to happen is you have to slow all that down for the camera and just sort of take a deep breath, and then you just become sultry. It's just like that. And as far as the nudity or whatever goes, like Delana in Teenage Tupelo, she would never on film, she never wanted to be naked below the belly button, right? Maybe her butt, but not frontal nudity. But she would do complete nudity for Richard Kern, the photographer in New York, and photographs, like you're talking about being that way for burlesque on stage. So there's like different sort of like gray guidelines, I guess, that you're willing to do this or do that. But I think the trust level is different when you're moving in 3 dimensions and you're in a movie.
And we had such a large crew for such a small budget film. I feel like we did. Well, maybe because I don't have a lot of experience, but we had a lot of people that, Mike has such a reputation in Memphis for making great, indie films. And so there was a lot of people that just asked, hey, well, what can I do? What can I do? So it seemed like we always had people around, you know, on set. So that was another thing that was a little hard for me when, you know, I was like the scene where I was getting beaten. And that was hard to act like I was getting beaten in front of a bunch of people, but you know, we made it through it.
So is it true you were involved in roller derby a bit?
Yeah.
Before?
Oh,
Did
yeah.
that help with some of the physicality of the role as well? Some of the action sequences?
No, that is okay. So when I look back on watching the movie, that is the one thing that actually drives me crazy about the movie is my lack of physicality, like trying to run in heels. Like there's some scenes where I'm just like, this is really hard.
Well, yeah, but sometimes you weren't wearing, if you couldn't see your feet, you never had heels on.
That's true. Yeah. Oh yeah. But there's like some scenes where I'm like running down, you know, the street in heels, and you can tell that I'm just kind of like, just kind of.
There's a nighttime scene where it's also cold, and she leaves like the convenience store and walks down the street.
Yeah,
and she's in heels, and you see her in full, and you see the breath coming out. And it's like, yep.
The thing I've always enjoyed about that kind of filmmaking, kind of on the spot filmmaking, is not only do the cops leave you alone, they may ask you what you're doing, and then you tell them, and it just sounds weird, so they just leave you alone. But the bad guys leave you alone too. It's like, you know, we were in neighborhoods where we could have been bothered or messed with, or at least basically wasted time where you're talking to people that just want to, you know, ogle. But I think it's like Cori in that cigarette girl get up with the heels and the cigarette tray and all that. I think it was kind of intimidating to most people.
Yeah,
and a gun.
we had several guns too. Yeah. The locations, though, I think that was the most phenomenal part of the entire movie is the fact that we got to shoot in all these locations, like Ernestine and Hazel's. That is such a special place. What was the restaurant called at the time? The Full Moon Cafe when we were down.
Sounds like filming. A cool place.
I don't remember. Yeah. Ernestine and Hazel's is supposedly haunted by, it was a whorehouse in the 50s, and then it had a haunted jukebox. And I hate to say this, but the owner that we worked with so well, he actually killed himself upstairs in the office because he was dying from cancer. Oh. So yes, it gets dark. But this is Memphis for you, you know, it's like, but then our band played there like before that. So it's like, yeah, we used the hell out of that building, but I don't like going in there anymore because we were there so much and the memories are so intrinsic. And that's true of a lot of things, I guess, around here too. The memories are so burned in, you know, to my mind. But yeah, it's your last episode, Brandon. Remember that.
It is. It's the finale. This is the grand finale, unannounced, of the Brandon Peters Show.
Yeah.
I hope not. Jeez.
Cue the band.
I'm planning on doing another episode. I hope something doesn't happen to me that ends it.
You better knock on wood right now.
Yeah, right. Boom. Luckily, I have real wood right there.
Brandon, what could possibly happen to you?
See, now listen, you're all this jinxing. All this jinxing. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, I mean, your murder rate in Indianapolis ain't nothing compared to Memphis.
That's true. We have a pretty bad one though too. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, we have a pretty bad one. Yeah.
Oh, and you have a show there called Dead Formats. I should have known.
Yeah, Dead Formats. Yeah. Yes. If you're in the area next year, usually around the end of August, that's when you should come. Are you going to be there next year, Mike?
I've been a guest 2 years in a row. Cori should come up there too. Noelle Huffman is fantastic. She's a fantastic organizer, hostess. Mike Hunchback, you know, is her boyfriend, and he's got all this stuff going on. And and we went out and had dinner with all the Hugh Gallagher, who made the Gore films, and the last night we were there, it was just such a special time. I did want to say real quick before I forget, this year is the 15th anniversary of Cigarette Girl. It's the 25th anniversary of Super Starlet. It's the 30th anniversary of Teenage Tupelo. So it's people like Noelle that sort of tap me on the shoulder and go, hey, don't you want to do something? Last year was the 30th anniversary of Damselous Daughter of Helvis. So it's like, so the best thing I can do this year is to have a a 15th anniversary screening on November 13th. We're going to show Cigarette Girl at Studio on the Square, where we showed it in 2010. I guess that was 2009, 2010, before we embarked on a festival circuit with it at the time. Cori can't make it. True.
That's true. I got dead people stuff to attend to.
You could have her chime in virtually. Can you do that?
How about a Brandon Peters remote?
Yeah, a pre-recorded hello to send to him. Yeah, Brandon Peters remote. I'm like, welcome people, it's Cigarette Girl. As featured on the final episode of my show.
Yeah, if you're watching this, it's because I've probably I'm not even gonna say it.
You can be Brandon's mortician.
Oh my God.
I would like my body shipped to, my family would love that. Yeah.
Now, if you do advertise this as your final show, you can always have more shows. It's just that this is your final show.
Well, starting next week, it's going to be the Brandon Peters Show 2. That's what the show's going to be. Yeah.
Right. Or you have some outrageous title like, some of these people do. Like,
hey, so the reason, you made fun of my show. My old show that I had for 5 years was called Cult Cinema Cavalcade. And all we did was talk, B movies, cult movie. And I hate being pinned in that corner. If I wanted to talk about something else, couldn't really do that because I, stay on topic, stay where the people want. So when I came to my new one, I'm like, I need something generic so I can just any way I want, any direction I want to go.
Right.
There we are. So that's how we're here at this because I once did that, Mike. I once did that.
All right.
I once did that.
I thought it was called something different, but that's right down your alley.
It was CCC.
Anyway,
Cult Cinema Cavalcade. So
okay, I'll look those up.
I'm sure you will.
We were talking with Rick O'Brien, who's also an enabler of Gorilla Monster films and helped greatly with Cigarette Girl, as did his stepson Sam. And his wife, Pam. Everybody pitches in, everybody helps make this thing happen, which is why it looks more expensive than it really does. But we started working on a Blu-ray for Cigarette Girl, and I felt bad to tell Cori that it kind of got sidetracked or sidelined because of Super Starlight AD, which also came up and was a bit more urgent. And then things happened in Indianapolis and in Iowa. I was previously in Iowa City showing Super Starlet. And some money came through for that Blu-ray and another project that I hope to do about Alex Chilton producing The Cramps in Memphis in 1978 called Like Flies on Harbor. Just throwing that in there. Maybe as a radio type podcast or drama, because we don't really have the money to make films anymore like we used to.
All right, so late to the party here, we have the man who shot and cut Cigarette Girl, Wheat. Simply Wheat. So,
the Madonna of indie films.
Yeah,
it's not that simple.
So you've collaborated with Mike a lot on his films. Was there anything you remember about your approach to shooting it at all?
Shooting it was I was just learning how to use lenses at that time, or I had anticipated, but it was shot with a video mini DV camera, but we had a lens adapter on it, so we were able to change out lenses. So becoming familiar with that, it was kind of new to me. I've always been interested in shooting video, but this was like a next step for me. But that being said, I mean, everything relied on Mike's storyboards. He had already mapped everything out that needed to be done. I think the more challenging aspect for me was lighting it, because we didn't have like a full light package or anything. Plus, with the lens adapter, you need a lot more light just to get an image. It was comparable to like shooting film in terms of lighting. So everything was pretty stark unless it was outside. because we only had a handful of lights to achieve what we wanted. So,
did you do anything special to prepare for digital effects at all, or?
Well, I think well, I wasn't doing so much the digital effects. Someone else was doing that.
Right. I meant in terms of just like lighting or shooting in a specific way, knowing one might be inserted somewhere. Or...
Yeah, God, I can't even. It's been a while, so I would say probably, I would say before that, to shoot like a composite shot, usually you would have to have a steady camera, like on sticks. But if I'm not mistaken, this was about a transition period where we were able to use handheld if need be. The tracking software got a lot more advanced around that time. So it was a lot more freeing in terms of what needed to be shot.
Gotcha. And you talked about the storyboards. Did that guide you in the editing room as well?
Well, the script was more the guide for that. And then if we had a lot more B-roll, yeah, maybe, I guess, the variety of B-roll, but actually, I wish we shot more B-roll or insert shots. I could say that. Yeah.
How good was Cori at hitting her marks on her first feature film?
You can be honest; it's okay.
Yeah. I think it was fine. Everyone was fine. I would say if Corinne was in the movie, then that would be the problem child, but fortunately she wasn't. So she was the difficult person, and that would be in a different movie. So
my favorite line with Corinne was always, "Corinne, if you listen to me and do what I say, we'll be eating lunch sooner." Or dinner or breakfast or,
Gotcha.
Whatever it is. No, that I felt like Cori was a trooper. And then she wouldn't really get mad either when you did something stupid or that wasn't in the book or, in the playbook.
Right.
The luck of it being her first. That's the luck of it being her first film for you.
True. I suppose that's true. But
we were all suffering though too, so she probably knew that.
Yeah, we were all pretty pathologically optimistic throughout the entire shoot.
Automaton.
We had already suffered through the sore losers, and the motto for that was 47 days on, the rest of your life off. So anytime anyone complained that, Emmy especially, you'd be like, dude, what are you going to do when this is over? Just think back on it or whatever. It's like, you'll have to get some stupid job or whatever. Right. So we were pretty much socialism in action, but as with socialism, truly, as it works or doesn't work, it only could last within a nucleus of this capitalist bubble. But
Day 46 was amazing.
Right. Well,
no.
Many of the people had already gotten on airplanes at that point.
I think we were stuck on the back of a pickup truck or a tow truck at that point.
Oh my God. Wheat and I were strapped on the back of a tow truck pulling a van out of Alabama from David F. Friedman's house because Corinne and Jack Oblivion were in the front. They were stars. They got the front of the cab treatment.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, this thing is sliding off the side of the road, and Wheat and I are strapped on the back of it.
I thought it was me and Darren.
Darren was with us.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a threesome.
Okay.
Is there any sort of like drama you've never talked about while shooting Cigarette Girl that you might want to share now? It's an exclusive.
On the Brandon Peters show?
On the Baron Peters show, on the final episode of the Brandon Peters show.
This is why it will be the final episode.
Oh, geez.
Wheat has witnessed a lot of entertaining, awkward emotional moments that are all based on a bunch of silly, contrived, dramatic things that only exist within, again, the bubble of making a film. You know, Cori hasn't witnessed hardly really anything like that at all.
Yeah, I think it was pretty smooth sailing from what I remember.
I remember someone on Superstarlet AD complaining about the about the food, and Wheat said, "Hey, at least we have food on this shoot."
Yeah, we didn't. There was no drama queens. Everybody was just there. Honestly, I mean, and there wasn't a lot of shoot days. I mean, I like again, Mike, you'll have to remind me, but it was such a minimal amount of days that everybody's kind of like, yeah, we're just doing our job and getting it done.
Well, and then it was a smaller, Cigarette Girl was a smaller production. And then we shot a lot of it in September of 2008. And then you came back in February of 2009. Oh. And I think in between, I'd been to Wheat's house and we had knocked out a lot of the stuff and realized, oh, well, we got to shoot this and this. And then we had to shoot more stuff with Emmy, I think, too, Emmy Collins, who had been in previous films. And I think the structure of putting it together was maybe more controlled or better. And also Wheat and I know each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I totally forgot about that. Like you came down and then it was like that first draft of the edit informed us of what we were missing or, you know, what didn't work or what did work.
I think one of the things that had to be done was the beginning of the movie, and this is that golden rule, just like in rock and roll music, you know, Freddie Mercury wondered why Queen's first record tanked, even though the biopic is supposed to tell you it was great to begin with. But
they really saved what was it, Live Aid? They saved Live. Remember that?
And they saved Live Aid too.
They saved Live Aid.
But one of the producers, this isn't even in the movie, but I read somewhere where Freddie was told, "Look, man, you have to sing immediately. If you want to be on the radio and a rock and roll band, you don't want a solo that lasts 5 minutes and then you start singing. You have to sing immediately to grab the audience." So then the next thing he wrote was, "She keeps a Moe chant," you know, before even music starts. So Killer Queen. So the same thing in Cigarette Girl was that we didn't have any kind of action or thing that grabs you by the throat at the beginning the way it was originally scripted. And so then, however, the beginning part is, it's that flashback thing where Cori goes through the motions of killing somebody or thinking of violence.
Right.
Speak of opening, you have a hella opening credit sequence for this movie. Like, it's fantastic.
I am so glad you brought that up.
It draws you right in.
I meant to mention that earlier. So we did have the front page of the New York Times art section at one point, right? Because we were best opening sequence, and we were up against Scorsese. We were up against Zombieland, which Zombieland won, I believe, because Zombieland's intro is just awesome.
Metallica, For Whom the Bell Tolls, and the
slow motion zombie boobies, like that was amazing. But yeah, the intro did get recognition.
Well, that's because Brian Dixon came in. Brian Dixon designed the poster with all the font, the cool movie poster font stuff, you know. And then Brian, the one where you're leaning against the car, we go back to that. But then Brian designed the animated sequences, or he built the files in very much a Saul Bass. Is that right, Brandon?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So very much in a Saul Bass style from the early 60s, very modern. And then he handed those files to Buddy. And then we sat there at Buddy's house and timed Jonathan Kirksey's amazing score to the file. So it was Brian, me, Buddy, Jonathan, putting that together, and then the red, black, white, the fascist color scheme, you know. Can't lose with red, black, and white. Well, you can lose World War II with it, but you can't.
Yeah.
But it's still stylish, like.
It is. A stylish loss for the Nazis.
The intro was very, very impressive. And I have to say, like, thinking back on your question earlier, I think the most dramatic things that happened is we lost my hair extensions at one point and had to replace those.
All right.
at one point I lost a contact and had to go to an emergency like eye doctor, and they refused to fill it. And so I like begged and pleaded and got another contact. And then we had a voiceover at the end. I don't know if you guys want to mention that.
What?
The voiceover for one character. It's not his original voice.
Oh.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything about this movie.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a long time ago. What are you going to do?
Right. I don't remember anything about this morning. Well, I had brought up that and I think, I don't know if I brought this up to Cori, but Super Starlight AD Blu-ray will be off and done with, and I don't know about replicated and distributed, but it'll be packaged. Weeks authoring it. That's all happening right now. And when the Cigarette Girl Blu-ray happens, what I would kind of like to do is have a combined director's commentary with Wheat and Cori, so that maybe Wheat will have a chance to watch the movie and remember some things. Or you don't have to say too much. But just like Cori talked about some of those things, I don't really remember a lot of what you're talking about. I totally forgot about that. Making a film, even if it's like an easier experience like Cigarette Girl is, for me, it's like I have anxiety anyway. So it's almost like I'm the kind of person that can drink coffee and go to sleep. It's like you're replacing one anxiety for another anxiety, where you're not so much concerned about your own problems anymore. Now you're concerned about 7 people's problems. So we can talk about that and maybe have a combined director's commentary when maybe next year, maybe we get around to it next year.
Well, we showed it in movie theaters. We showed it international. We showed it at a drive-in theater. I mean, dreams realized. We did good.
I think we did. And that, you bring that up. So up until, Brandon, we had a 4-screen drive-in here, summer drive-in in Memphis, and it closed. I guess it was August it closed, maybe July. And I had a monthly series there with Matt Martin, who had a video store here called Black Lodge Video in Memphis. So we had a 12-year season run, and then the drive-in closed, called Time Warp Drive-In. But back in 2014, which was the 10-year anniversary of Gorilla Monster, Cori came to Memphis, and we were all here, and I got to have a retrospective of all my movies at a drive-in.
Oh, that's cool.
And Cigarette Girl was kind of the topper of all that. And I got to say, that was just really, to do that, to have that happen in the 21st century is a miracle.
Is that the one I read something about you giving popcorn baptisms or something like that?
Yes.
That was it.
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Yep.
And we filled a kiddie pool full of popcorn, and then we dunked people in, and I sprinkled them with popcorn. And there were some salty contact lens problems there.
Well, that's the first time I've ever had popcorn in my underwear. So
not the last. Some people get it in their eyes. You got it in your underwear.
What do you
see what I mean, Brandon?
Yeah, popcorn and underwear. I'll try it.
Time to rent another Cori Dowles project.
There you go.
It's our next podcast.
We need more. Yeah.
You'll have popcorn in your underwear when you see Cadavra.
Yes. So itchy. All right.
I thought one good byline for the Cadavra thing would be, "Who's your favorite monster?" And it's obviously going to be you, Cori, as Cadavra.
Thank you.
There we go. All right. Well, the three of you, I appreciate you taking time coming on my show, talk about Cigarette Girl, and another thing which we'll release after this on the YouTube channel. You'll see it all. A very special breaking news film planning pitch meeting session. It's something else, but
it was exactly that, and I appreciate you letting us do all this on your last episode.
On my last episode. So since people won't be listening to me anymore, Mike, where can people keep up with you around the interwebs?
I'm gonna go right now and jump off the roof of the house, so this will be it for me.
Your last episode of my show too? Oh, yeah. Cute. All right.
Yeah, and it won't be a fall that'll kill me. It'll just sort of take me out of commission for a while, but I'll be back. I've got this cadaver thing to finish. I'm working on, maybe I'm not anymore because now this is going to take up all my bandwidth. Bandwidth, very important. Wheat is helping me with the Super Starlet AD Blu-ray, getting that all organized and ready for a distributor. If you're out there, let us know. jmm.memphis@gmail.com. Trying to maybe think about an audio drama podcast type thing with Like Flies on Harbert, which is my story of Alex Chilton producing the Cramps in Memphis in 1978, which I think eventually there's going to be a Chilton movie, a Big Star movie, a Cramps movie. I would just like to do something first because I've lived here for 40 years and it's in the osmosis. I think these kind of stories should be told locally and from the heart before Hollywood takes them and mangles them. But in this other new thing, Cadaver, we'll see how it takes shape. It's really up to Mark and his technical savvy. So we'll talk about that later.
And Gorilla Monster Films.
Huh?
The website. Yeah. People can find your catalog.
Well, the GorillaMonsterFilms.com website is woefully ancient. It hasn't been updated forever, but they can see old clips of you as Cadavra from 2006 and lots of other YouTube videos that I've done and Wheat has helped me on, I would say 90% of the time. And so yeah. So
or Buddy.
Huh?
Or with Buddy.
Or with Buddy, God rest his soul. But Wheat, if you want to be involved in anything coming up here in the future, let us know. And
yeah, I'm still trying to get my chops on this AI stuff. Like Mark's doing. I'm kind of taking the slow route, but I want to be thorough.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You got anything to plug, Wheat?
No.
All right, Cori, where can people find you and keep up with you?
Yeah, so you can find me on all the standard socials. So the podcast is the Foundry Metal Broadcasting Podcast on Spotify. On Spotify, you can find my bands. So you can find Fingers Like Saturn, which is a band I had with Mike. You can find the Get Backs. You can find the Mock Chunk Vampires. Yeah, so, and if you need any mortuary assistance, well, I'm your gal.
All right. And I'm on the socials at Brandon4KUHD. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel, which this episode is going to have an exclusive piece from. More than a piece. Pieces. Big chunk. So you can watch the show as well on there and check out my 4K Blu-ray and DVD reviews. If you're listening to this when this drops this Saturday, I'll be at Doctoberfest in Canby, Indiana at the Who North America store. I'll be doing podcast coverage like I have in the past couple of years, but this year a book I have an essay in is dropping that day. It's called Fantastic, a celebration of fans discovering Doctor Who, and I'll be doing signings of that copy as well there. Next week on the show, we return to our Tarkovsky's Tales retrospective for its final chapter, 1986's The Sacrifice. Until then, as always, stay film positive.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios, and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at BrandonPetersShow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail at BrandonPetersShow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.